This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
We'll see if Bob shows up. Welcome, everyone, to the March 16th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by accessing the Zoom link in the agenda. We will post a record of this meeting on the Easthampton media website as soon as we're able. Right. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting? Yeah. Any alterations or adjustments need to be made that you guys notice? No. Okay. Let's see. Do we have Andy? I'm saying we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we could vote on those minutes if someone would like to make a motion.
I'll make that motion, Paul.
Thank you, Eric. Would anyone here, JT, you second?
I'll second that motion.
Great. All right, so there's no changes that need to be made. It sounds like if everyone's comfortable, we can move into a vote. We need to do a roll call vote. So I'll start with you, JT. Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
And Brian?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved. We are all in favor. No one is here from public speak, so we can go along the agenda. Next agenda item is the budget, 2023 budget. John, do you have any update for us on the budget?
Sure do. So we had our budget meeting, myself with the mayor and the finance team from the city. So that's the auditor, the finance director. And, you know, a few of the things that were included was adding that 39-week off-site maintenance position, which was well received by the city. Also our budget at the 3%, which was the max that we could increase our budget, was also well received as well. So very positive and productive meeting. At that meeting, I did inform everyone in attendance that the commission would be writing a letter on behalf of the maintenance building to get that project moving along sooner than later. And I don't know if you want to talk about that letter now, Paul, or towards the end, but I'll go into a little bit. I followed up with Paul, found the 1998 master plan, so 25 years ago, that described the maintenance building in shambles and to be replaced. And now we're here 24 years later, still trying to get that building squared away. So, and one of the things that, you know, I talked about, you know, with the price of steel and things, you know, that 250, researching it a little bit lately, I guess steel is just through the roof for cost. So we'll see where we are if we get to that point. But you know, let's hope we get to that point where we start talking costs and contracts and things like that.
Do you have a feeling that 250 may not be insufficient?
The way steel prices are going, yeah, I'm thinking it won't be enough anymore. Probably 3.25 or so, or redesign it to where the building itself gets put in for whatever the cost is. We do have a union carpenter on staff. So we could look at doing, some stuff in-house for framing out offices or, bathrooms or anything like that. So we could potentially look at doing some cost savings. I mean, they've repaired the roof. They've done, a bunch of work as it is on the old building. So doing some in-house stuff, especially if we could time it where it'd be in the off season, late fall, early winter, and have that in place would be huge. So we'll see on that.
Okay. What would this process look like if the city council is like, okay, we can find 250,000 for you, and then you go out and look and I'm going to need another 75. How does that get addressed?
So before any numbers are discussed with city council, I would reach out to some of our local contractors, and get a ballpark and people that have dealt with steel. I actually have a friend who owns a construction company that deals in steel buildings. So I could get a ballpark as well with that and get it to a pretty reasonable number, close proximity of what we'd actually need. So we would definitely do that end first. And because it's nothing new to companies like that deal with this all the time. They can, say, okay, yeah, you want a 24 by 48 steel building with a couple of bathrooms and pretty much open interior. And this is what you're going to be looking at, plus extras for any additional add-ons, framing out offices, things like that.
Okay. So in the letter that I wrote, I said I put the 250,000 number into that letter. Should that be adjusted, or is that fine to keep it as it is?
I would adjust it, or I would put in a caveat, of potentially more due to inflation and rising costs of steel, et cetera, something to that effect, where it's so we're not locked into a certain number. That number is a moving target based on costs.
When was that number? When did you guys come to that number? That 250?
That's my question too.
That was about 4 years ago for that number. I probably, in hindsight, should have jumped it up more for this last capital, and I probably can still do that. Maybe I'll reach out and get a better, more accurate, potential accurate number. I think that would be probably just the building itself with nothing else added in there.
Okay. What if I just took out or changed out the 250 and changed to the capital needed?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. Did you guys get to review this letter?
I think you did a great job, Paul. I read it a few times, and I think it's very thorough, very detailed, and real tough to argue with, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I second that. I like the timeline in there too. This has been requested since 1998. It's an ongoing thing, and I was really pleased to see that this necessity. We all know what's happening in Springfield with the courthouse, right? There is some health hazards here. I don't think anyone want to work there every day. Certainly needs to be addressed. So yeah, I think you hit on all points.
Okay. I did want to add this one little word because I noticed it wasn't in there originally. So it requires employees to chop, stack, and burn wood.
Now I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. I literally, as soon as I sent it to John, I was read it again. I'm like, oh man, I missed a word there. But, it's because I'm a perfectionist. So, all right. The other thing, I know this is minor. Well, I mean, I didn't know. I took the template of how, like, the top of the letter and the listing of the members from a previous letter from years ago. It doesn't call out Eric, you as being a second chair or a vice chair. I don't know if that's typical. And I didn't want you to feel any sort of offense or slight at that.
I'm only here for the glory, Paul. As usual.
Aren't we all?
All right. So, other than that,
I don't know if you want, Paul, I don't know if you want, I can send you just a blank letterhead if you want to put it on the Park and Rec letterhead itself.
sure.
I can send you that off, and then you can just cut and paste the verbiage right into that.
Okay. Great. That's great. And John, what about Jim's name on this? I know Jim's being reappointed to the commission today.
Yeah,
Are we
so
gonna-
I would just wait till after I'll know tomorrow on that. So
Okay.
we don't need to do anything on this until after his reappointment tonight. So.
Okay. Great. So is there any other changes or anything that people want to see in this? I mean, I don't know if we need to go through it line by line or paragraph by paragraph. Other than that, if everybody's happy with it, would like to vote. I wish everybody was here today. It would be great. But...
I'm not sure if you saw, Andy did send full support of the, he did send an email that he was in full support of the letter as written.
Yeah, I saw that. So that's good.
All right, can I get into one wordsmithing tiny detail? Would you mind?
Oh,
putting that back
please.
up?
I love it.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, don't be. Let me.
So in this last paragraph,
Yeah.
funding requests to accomplishment have been submitted on each capital improvement plan since FY 2019. Capital improvement plan is capitalized there. FY 2013 capital plan, it's not capitalized there. So I think it's just capitalize it or don't capitalize it. I think it should just be consistent one way or the other.
Yeah.
I guess the teacher in me is also reading the FY 2013 capital plan includes a request for the capital. I would change that second capital to funding just so it like flows a little better.
Great.
And I'm going to tap out on that. So I'm
Perfect. I love it, Eric. Thank you. Oh, Microsoft doesn't like this. They want to change to directly communicated. I actually like that better.
I agree.
Way to go, Word.
Yeah, Microsoft hates the passive voice. They want everything to be active.
Okay. All right, so if we want to vote on this with the changes, someone can motion to do so. But I cannot.
Oh, so are you looking for a motion? So are you looking for a motion to for the commission to support this letter as amended, as edited this evening?
Yes.
I'll make that motion then.
Thank you.
I second.
And thank you, JT. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to accept this letter as amended through this discussion. If there's any further debate or deliberation to be had, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and have a vote then. It'll be another roll call vote. We'll start with you, JT.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
And Brian.
Yes.
Okay, and we are all in favor of this letter being submitted as amended. Outstanding. Okay, so let's move on to the next item on our agenda, the policy and fees 2022. Has there been a change or an update, or what's going on, Mr. Mason?
So actually I wasn't done with budget yet, sorry.
No,
Just
we'll stick on that.
just a couple of minor things. Seasonal workers return on Monday, so your Jeffs and Ted and Matt will all be back. So I will be in full operation staffing wise, as well as Jerry in the cemetery. So come Monday, we're back in full force to get things moving along. Also, I've already submitted for the AGO Summer Youth Jobs Grant through the state. And that is a grant which we use towards help funding positions for Camp Nonotuck workers. So I submitted a $4,000 grant for that. And we've had success every year getting that. So hopefully that success continues. And it helps to pay a few kids during the summer. Okay, now I'm all set with budget.
Okay. Do you have an update for us on the policy and fees?
Yeah, so what I wanted to do on that was just give a couple of things. Pavilion rentals started and very strong out of the gate. So I think we're in for a busy season. We have 31 pavilions already rented. And that did not include the 4 that hit the desk today. We have 5 events at Millside already booked. I believe there was another one today that would make it 6 that came in via email. So it's going to be a very busy, setting up to be a very busy summer with rentals and events throughout the city. One of the things we've heard was the words out, people are like, oh, I used to go to Look Park, but, we want to come here. So, it's a good thing. The word's getting out about Easthampton and what we have for facilities and offerings and what we can do in the city. So, we're taken away from our neighbors and people are coming here to the park and to Millside. So that's exciting. We do have park passes and I will get those out to everybody, and just shoot me an email of how many vehicles you have. Some households have 2 vehicles, but on being on the commission, you get a park pass to come into the park because it's part of official business or not official business, but to be able to come in on the weekends and not pay is part of the gig. You'll see this year there's no year for the stickers because we are using our stickers from a couple of years ago when we ordered them just before the pandemic. Those park pass stickers are about $750 to buy. So we, being the frugal department that we are, we hole punched out the last the ending date. We go by color, so we haven't had this color in 9 years. So you'll see a sticker with a hole punch in it. But we're saving $750 going that route, and Sam and I were kind of like kicking around what we could do to save money and to salvage what we had already. So that's what we came up with. So that's what you'll see when you get them. There'll be a hole punch for punching out 19, and they'll be valid for 2022.
Okay.
Any questions on policies or fees?
I don't think so.
All right. Programming, the basketball EBA is wrapping up, and spring sports are starting up. We have between high school baseball and softball, and then Little League is coming in on Sunday to Daily Field, outfield, out to that area for just player evaluations. So it's that time of year. Getting folks down to the park is still mud season in the park, so that's not happening. But we've always allowed like the co-ed softball outfield, as long as people stay off the infields, which will be posted for all those teams that want to come in, and or families and things like that that want to come in and throw the ball around and stuff. So then we have our soft opening in April, which is revolved around the high school schedule. So when the high school teams have games inside the park, we just open up the gates. You can't get people out once the gates are open. So we just open it up and let youth soccer and youth baseball and softball come down into the park and get practice in before they open up their season at the beginning of May, end of April. So the park officially opens April 25th. That's a Monday. That's when we open for season. All the bathrooms are open, things like that. So it's going to be here quick. That's for sure. Posting for summer jobs. So we've already started planning for the summer. We've already got the jobs posted. Our key positions, our healthcare coordinator is returning, and our camp director. So two really important positions. To have them come back is huge. So we're very excited about that. We're having at least one movie night, if not two. Sam hasn't picked the dates yet. We have the dates for the Arts in the Park concert series. We're doing 3, possibly 4. We do not have the revenues that we've had in the past kind of built up to afford a lot of bands. So we are going to do the best we can with a very small budget for this year. We're going to send out letters to our local businesses April 1st. And then we're also going to include our local marijuana shops included in that to see if they're interested in sponsoring and supporting our events. And then we're really co-op as well. So we're going to reach out to some of the newer businesses that were not around or just beginning to open up for potential donations towards the Arts in the Park concert. And if we get, money rolls in, we can add dates at no problem, but I don't want to overextend ourselves without having the finances in place.
I'm curious, John, when you go to these businesses and you ask them for, to donate or support, what's a typical donation amount that you might request of a business?
We don't ask for any dollar amount. We let them decide. And on average, for our local businesses, it's between $25 and $50. Occasionally we get some $100 ones. The Helping Hand Society did drop off a check in my mailbox today for $750, which will cover one show completely. So that was, they're always very generous, supporting park programs. So that was a pleasant surprise to see that today. We generally raise a couple thousand through our letters that we send out to businesses. We're hoping we can do that again this year. That would be a good number.
All right. Okay. Are there any questions about the programming update? No. Should we move on then to the CPA? I know you sent that email with the new city stuff, but is that CPA or would that be?
No, that'll be under park facilities.
Park facilities, yeah. Okay. And Andy's not here, so I don't know if we have anything to discuss for this item.
For the beta proposal for the Nantucket Park pool improvements, that one?
No, for CPA projects. I'm just not sure if we have anything to discuss.
Well, that's what this is. The pool is part of that because that's CPA funding for the for the consultants.
Let's see. Draft from the beta group. Let's try to share this. Okay.
Yeah. Fantastic. And yeah, I had to zoom in about 10 times to
Yeah.
see the writing in there. Very tough, but you know, the over this is just one. There's going to be a few different schematics and conceptual plans for this area. But as you can see, expanding some parking in that area, moving the ADA parking spots from where they are now, which is towards the Pavilion 4 side, and moving them directly in front of basically the entrance to the pool area. Adding, redoing the walkways and adding additional walkways or upgrading the walkways to the pool and into the spray park. Adding shade structures and storage areas and new fencing, and then doing some additional plantings to kind of enclose that whole parking lot area. So that's the first plan. I reached out to Beta I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, to regroup and meet. Waiting to hear back when they have a time to come into the park and go on site with us and talk about some of the things that they put in this plan and what we'd like to see as well. So I just wanted to get this out to you guys just so you can see that they are working on this, and like I said, it's going to be you know, a few different plans that you'll be seeing at the end of the day, and then we can figure out which one we want to go with and whether we're doing, you know, public outreach with it as well.
John, I thought there was some discussion in regards to like possibly connecting this to that little playground area that's in the backside.
Yeah, and they're also, you know, like I said, this is only their first run at it. Also, there's discussion of somehow possibly connecting to the Sheehan parking lot, which is to the new playground as well, whether a walkway, you know, kind of outlining the outfield of Sheehan Field, connecting into the pool area. So, you know, going from basically the top left corner of the parking lot, and then going by the new plantings and then running like a walkway outside of the Sheehan fence line, and then connecting into the parking lot over there, and then connecting into the playground over there. So yeah, that's some of the things that will be discussed in the next, you know, designs and things that they come up with. But this, like I said, this was their first run at of several plans that'll be presented.
Okay, and that volleyball court would still be a separate entity from the pool?
That's what, yeah, so he has it enclosed. I don't like that. It's gotta, I don't know if he's looking at continuing the fencing as it is, and then just adding additional fencing. So basically making that an enclosed volleyball area. So I'm not sure where he's going with that.
Okay.
But I haven't been able to hammer him down on what some of the thoughts and designs that he was looking at or coming up with.
Do you think there's a risk with this new parking here? It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new spots right here. Is that just like asking to get hit with baseballs?
No, those trees that are existing there already are so high that there's no chance whatsoever.
I think that distance is actually a little greater than what it's represented on this too.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it sounds like this is moving forward with the development of these plans, but we're still pretty early.
Yes, we're definitely very early on this. Like I said, I reached out to them. I know they're very busy. They have some other city projects as well. So I'm going to circle back around with them beginning of next week and try to get pull a date for them to come out and do some walkthroughs of what we're looking for.
All right. So anybody else have any questions or comments on this? No. All right, well, let's move on. This looks very good. Yeah. See here. Oh, so I'm all zoomed in. So I'll pull up the new city improvements concepts here. And we can go on to the next item. Okay, so this is that little spot right on the corner of Parsons,
Yes.
across the
Yep.
street from where that store used to be.
Yeah, so basically like on the front side of the school.
Yeah.
Once again, these are just conceptual plans, nothing, in stone on these, but I did want to get these out just so you have a kind of an idea, an FYI of some of the thoughts and designs that they're looking at for this area.
Mhm. Okay, this slide, does it involve any of our assets here?
No, but I threw this one in because there's more to this. There's infrastructure, sidewalks, stuff, sewer lines, water lines that you guys didn't need to concern with. But I did put this in there for just kind of a cool thing that it's going to be similar to the boardwalk
Oh, I see here, yeah.
on Williston Ave. It's going to tie into the bridge that was put on Ferry Street and all the work in front of One Ferry in that whole area. So just kind of a cool thing that I liked what they were looking on this and what this group, this consultant group is doing. So I threw that in there, kind of I know there's a long-term plan, especially with like Mill 180 and Mike Michon, who was doing all the work on Ferry Street to kind of get that lower mill pond, some vista pruning, cleaned up and she talked about putting an aerator sprinkler system in the middle of the pond. So, you'd see, outside of hotels or whatever, things like that. So, it's just another improvement for that area that's revitalizing that area. So I threw that in there. I thought it was a kind of a cool piece that they're thinking about as well with that.
Yeah, that would be really nice. All right. So what is this here showing?
So that's the back of the school.
Right. Oh, got it. Okay. So this is the currently existing paved parking lot here?
Exactly. Yes,
Got it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a
Community
big
gardens,
rotary
yep.
part, that big circular pavement area. So that's, just kind of what you would see when it's all torn up and some of the things they were looking at, the adding pavilion. I'm not really in favor of that. I like to see some shade structures with maybe a picnic table underneath, but adding a full blown pavilion. And they were talking about potential of grills and things like that. I would not like to see that in that area, because then I'm not sure renting it out, I think would be tough because it's so far out of sight, out of mind. And then just the general maintenance of trash and cleaning the grills and things like that these guys go through. And actually we'll talk about that as part of the ARPA, but just the cost of grills and replacing grills is unbelievable how much they cost when you're replacing even the small grills. The shuffleboard that they put in this plan as well. I'm not too sure on that based on I don't think too many people have the pucks and the sticks to play shuffleboard, and where would they be kept and locked up? Once again, this is a pocket park off-site, so these are the things that will be discussed when we get back around with them. But once again, I wanted you to, I know we've talked about this area, and I told you I'm involved on this plan moving forward for that area. So I wanted to get that type of information out to you guys as well.
All right.
A basketball court there, but what are the little squared areas?
Community garden space.
Okay.
I see there's a idea here for a little game table. There's a picture of a chess set. What about one of those really large, like they have in Germany, the really large chess sets where the pieces are like up to your hip and you got them, could we do something like that?
Oh, yeah. Once again, it becomes of where, are they going to remain on site and, where they're going to be stored and locked, and, where the smaller tables, people do have checkers and chess at home and they can just bring their own pieces and sit down. So, these are the kind of things we'll talk and hammer out as we move forward. There will be more community outreach regarding this as well. That'll be, I believe it's in April, but I'm not positive on the date yet. I haven't seen the official date. So there will be more, community outreach and seeing what folks in the neighborhood are interested in having.
All right. I see. This is the alternate for the same space.
Same space, exactly. So just another different set of, some of the concerns, and I'm not sure if it shows it in here. I think it does. But snow, where, that neighborhood, when the DPW is picking up snow and putting it in the trucks, I think it does say it in there that there's a snow storage area where where they can still store snow in the wintertime. So that that was one of the concerns about that as well. So there were it's trying to think about all aspects of an area and a neighborhood and how it impacts not only the neighborhood but city resources and things like that.
Okay, so this would be totally removing that parking lot, it looks like, and putting
and moving the parking and moving the parking to the front.
Oh, no, keep that over there. Got it. Oh, I see. All right. So there's quite a number of interesting ideas here. What's the timeline looking like for this? Is this something that really has momentum, or is it just kind of like planning in case we get the money to do stuff?
It has momentum. Definitely. It's not like the, I'm not sure if you saw the Safe Streets for Park Ave, which, would be shovel in the ground in 2025 at the earliest. I would see this much earlier than that.
All right. And the Parks Department would be responsible for maintaining this area, I take it? And if they did put pavilions and stuff, they would want the parks to manage the rentals?
Yeah, so that's why yeah, we're going to have input on that, because I think managing, grills in a pavilion rental style, and does the neighborhood want, outside rentals coming into their backyard and having, when we have them in the park, it's spaced out. We're, Brian's our closest neighbor, and there's not too many times where, music is going to carry and all the way up there and loud noises from a party. Would a neighborhood want a big pavilion in their backyard where there's going to be, grilling and a party and music and potentially alcohol and everything else that's associated with something like that? So, those, like I said, these are just conceptual plans, for us to think about and for the community to think about, and we'll work with them and see and make sure what's best for us in the area.
Hey, look at that oversized chest right there on the plan. We'll see.
John, are these all part of like open space plans?
No.
Okay.
So this is part of, I can't remember the exact name of the funding opportunity, but it's, it's to develop areas, urban areas where, where there's not a lot of yard space, things like that. So, so that's the focus here.
Yeah, and I agree with the shuffleboard portion of that too, because like you said, everybody in that area, a lot of people have small yards and maybe they just want an open space, and shuffleboard with the pucks and the, I don't even know what they're called, the pushers.
Yeah, exactly.
What we don't want to do in my mind's eye is create more work for the Parks Department as far, and that gets back to the pavilion, the grills, the trash. Aside from all the issues that might come up with the neighbors, it's added man hours and work for the department.
Yeah, and it's what's going to get used, and shuffleboard seems like a great idea, but you need something where people can bring stuff to the park, and whether it's cornhole or everybody, it's $20 for a set of bags for cornhole, and you can bring them from home, and a lot of people have them and things like that. So, there's other ways, but like I said, these are just conceptual plans to get discussions going, and we're a part of the discussions that'll take place in this.
I do like these sort of plans because I think it brings more attention to the Park and Rec Department, where it allows us to ask for more resources, right? The more things that get brought on, to me,
Exactly.
I want that attention, and now we can go back to the town and say, listen, we need more resources. And that's
part of it, and that's, because I have pricing on grills and replacing picnic tables and things like that, when they do, if and when they do come down with, this is what we'd like to see there, I can put together a, whether it's a 5-year maintenance plan on it or, potential cost of replacement, so I can go and look at all the potential items in there and say, okay, if we have to, replace a picnic table or replace the roof on the pavilion or whatever it is, there's a cost associated with that. So it's in place. And this also goes to the fact of adding that outside maintenance person, off-site maintenance person that, having, that just shows the importance of everybody adding more things. There has to be resources. It has to be equal. We're adding more. The resources from the city have to equal what is being added, because there's a cost associated with everything that's added to our department.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and let me just say, in these map markups, you can almost see my house. Like literally, this is a 2-minute walk from where I live. So it's the most densely populated part of the city, and it's kind of a recreation desert right now. I mean, there's the playground at Parsons Village, but other than that, there's not really a whole lot of open space here. So I think I think this is fantastic. And thanks for your efforts on this, John.
Yeah, it's definitely needed for the area.
Yeah.
And I've always said that as long as we're including in discussions, we're more apt to be involved in the maintenance plans and everything that goes with adding these things. So I think it's exciting for the whole neighborhood in that whole area. So
For what it's worth, I think it would be a good thing to remove some of that big blacktop, like this is how it is right now. And I know that, like Eric said, with this area being very densely populated, very little green space, and with the stormwater overflow issues that are there, and the way that even that water washes down the side of the mill pond and ruins that roadway over there. It would think it would be a good thing to get more green space in that area to suck up some of that water.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I'll as we move forward and on this, I'll keep it posted. And if when I do hear of when they're doing the community outreach again, I will definitely get that information out to everyone.
All right. So let's keep talking about the park facilities. We have the ARPA funding that we got.
Yep.
Coming in from Kerry.
Yep. So I'll touch on that first. So we received $10,000. I had to do a bunch of paperwork, scope of service, budget, things like that, and contracts and stuff for this money. And the thing that we came up with, and I can quickly go over it, but on behalf of the city of Easthampton, I'd like to thank the Commonwealth for awarding us an earmark to expand pandemic-friendly and safe outdoor activities at Nonotuck Park. Please see the following budget, which indicates estimates for equipment, games, installation, and concrete pads for the surface. Those large outdoor grills that I just talked about, if they're looking at doing something, those are $1,100 a piece. We need to replace some of ours. The small grills are almost $500 a piece. So using this money to replace picnic site and pavilion grills is going to be a great way to meet the requirements of this money, which is to expand and keep our safe outdoor activities for families at Nonotuck. So the other thing we've added is cornhole sets, but they're concrete ones. They're $1,200 a piece, but you can't move them. Once they're in place, they're there unless you're bringing in heavy equipment to move them. So having permanent installed cornhole sets, tetherball, horseshoe pits and equipment, and then I have $2,000 for concrete pads and installation. And one of the things we do now is when we do install benches or anything, bleachers or anything like that, we put down a concrete pad, so it's a cleaner look. It's easier to maintain around it, those areas. And then I put in for a couple thousand for benches and seating areas. So the total I put down for our budget is $12,000, even though we only get 10. We'll kick in for some of this that's needed. It also shows the Commonwealth that we're just not taking 10 and using 10. We're going to put a little skin in the game on these improvements as well for the park. So, and once again, we can't thank Representative Carey enough for thinking of specifically our department. for this earmark. So that's the plan.
It's outstanding. Right. Well, what about the Rotary? I see that on here as well.
Yeah. So the Rotary is going to have a new president in July. Tim, and I don't have his last name written down. I have his business card back in the office, but he's the president of Easthampton Electric. Really nice guy, and he's going to be taking the lead. And he came to reach out to the mayor actually about community service projects and what they can do as a Rotary group. We appreciated their offer and sat down and discussed not only what we could use at the park, but other properties within the city. And we talked about and actually went up to the library. So we went up to the Wilson Library and looked at the handicap ramp there. And it's a good project for the Rotary. So helping out the library, get a new ramp in there, which is much needed. I'm not sure if any of you have been over to the library and have seen the handicap accessible ramp, but it only had a couple more years of shelf life at most. So the Rotary they'll write a grant to the national organization about receiving funding. They'll kick in money as well at the local level. And then this is a project that they can handle and get involved with, when you have a contractor on site, cutting the boards or whatever, and you have they can paint it. They can either, screw in the boards, for the ramp, or however they can help out. It's a high visible area. So that's the project they're going to help out the city with, which is great, but not leaving us out of the loop. They're going to do a cleanup day on the Rotary itself on April 9th. The Rotary folks are going to come over, pick up dead branches, things like that, where they're going to repair. There's 2 benches that have a broken board on them. They're just going to do some general small odds and ends in that area. One of the things that Tim has already done for us regarding the Rotary is, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed the light fixtures have had a bulb out, and on a couple of them there was some electrical issues, and I met Tim at like 11 o'clock last Wednesday, and at 2 o'clock I had one of his workers and trucks show up at the park and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go up to the Rotary and look at those lights and do this and do that. And by the end of the day, Tim already reached out and said, we've already figured out what the problem is. We're gonna order the parts, and April 9th we're gonna replace all that. So for no labor costs. So I'm very excited to have not only, well, I mean, all the Rotary presidents have been good to us, and just, he's very excited about the park and what he can do to help out the city and us as well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the Rotary Club and what their plans are and what they're looking to do for the city. So that's why that's on there. So we're excited. And I'm sure Eric's excited to hear the project. The library is going to get some love.
I was just there yesterday. That ramp is very.
It's dicey.
It's overdue to be fixed.
Yeah. So let's hope they get their funding, and but that's the project they're going to let to get funded. So.
I've heard, I'm not sure, but maybe Eric, I've heard that library, it does not have the width between the aisles to accommodate a wheelchair. Is that?
That is, the library is very much not handicapped accessible. Because of the age of the structure, it's grandfathered in for a lot of things, but it's a long story for another time, Paul. I think.
Okay.
There's a lot of history and there's a lot to talk about. Yeah.
And I believe that the consulting group for the city for ADA accessibility was going over there last week to look at that. And it's not to pick it apart. And they're going to do it to our buildings and our facilities. It's just to put together a list of priorities for the city of how to get buildings and public spaces handicap accessible. So they're not going to shut them down or anything like that. They're just going to say, here, within the next 1 to 2 years, this is what it'll cost. This is what is a high priority. 10 years out, you should think about doing this and everything in between. So I know they were going to look at that and see what they can do to help. And like I said, that'll lead to more funding opportunities for the city to get money to do those projects. So it's good that they're included in those discussions.
Excellent.
And that's all I have. I might have to sip of water. I talk so much tonight.
All right, folks. Does anybody have any new business or old business they'd like to bring up? Any old grudges that you've been carrying around to get off your chest?
John, I'm concerned about that non-appropriate image that's on your wall that pops up every now and then when we have these meetings.
Is it my Montreal Canadiens or Steelers?
The correct answer is C, all of the above. But
There's
that's the one.
my Montreal Canadiens, and then my Pittsburgh Steelers history of the helmets there is on the wall on the other side. Yeah. I'm not a popular guy in town either when it comes to sports teams. I do have my Red Sox stuff around here, though. I got my Red Sox clock right here. So I do have one.
I'll ask for grudges, so had to come through.
All right, folks. Well, I think we've pretty much covered it. What do you say we someone makes a motion and we get on out of here?
Bob's not here, so how are we going to do this? I'll make a motion to adjourn, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. JT's got 2 doubles in the night. All right, folks. Motion on the floor to adjourn. I don't hear any discussion or debate. Let's just have a vote. We'll start with you, JT.
Yes.
Eric. And Brian.
Yes.
Okay, we are all in favor and we are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. And see you all next month.
Yeah, and we'll know whether we're going to be live in person or anything, what the next month will look like for next meeting. So as soon as we get information, I know Paul's got a little tidbits, but nothing was finalized or talked. As soon as we hear anything, you'll hear from either Paul or myself, and we'll give the scoop of how we're going to approach. Hopefully, we're at least by May. Hopefully, we can get into the park and have in-person meetings outdoors and enjoy the lovely park. Okay,
right.
That's all.
Outstanding. Thanks, John. See you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.